Aam Aadmi Party's big mahila push ahead of elections. Kejriwal announces 1,000 rupees per month for women voters. Promises raised to 2,100 rupees if voted to power. And let's begin with the big news break coming in. One nation, one election. With the cabinet giving its approval, this bill is all set to be brought into Parliament, and sources telling us what really played out in the cabinet meeting. Home Minister Amit Shah reportedly briefed the cabinet on the technical issues of one nation, one election. Besides that, Prime Minister Modi, according to our sources, also told his ministers to go and ensure that people are made aware of the benefits of simultaneous polls and talk about how this bill is beneficial to every citizen of this country. I want to bring in Himanshu Mishra for more details on this. Himanshu, हमको ये बताइए कि कैबिनेट में क्या डिस्कस हुआ जब ये अप्रूवल दिया था वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन के लिए?
देखिए, बिल्कुल कैबिनेट जैसी बैठक शुरू हुई उसमें अर्जुन राम मेघवाल जो कानून मंत्री हैं, लॉ मिनिस्टर हैं, उन्होंने बिल जो है कैबिनेट के सामने रखा और उसके बाद जो है इस बिल पर जो है वो तमाम जो मंत्री हैं उन्होंने अप्रिशिएट भी किया और उसके बाद गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने इस पूरे बिल पर जो टेक्निकल इश्यूज हैं उसको पूरी कैबिनेट को ब्रीफ किया। उसके बाद प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी ने कहा कि आप सबको जिम्मेदारी है इस बिल के बारे में जाके आम जनता के बीच में जो है वो जागरूकता लाएं और साथ ही साथ आम जनता को ये भी बताएं कि कैसे समय और पैसे बचेंगे और कैसे जो है इलेक्शन के अंदर जो है एक स्मूथ ट्रांजैक्शन होगा और इसके क्या क्या फायदे हैं ये जाके आम जनता को आप बताएंगे तो जनता को समझ आएगा कि विपक्ष इसका जो विरोध कर रहा है वो व्यर्थ विरोध कर रहा है। इस देश स्वतंत्र होने के बाद, देश का संविधान बनने के बाद जो है 17 साल तक जो है वो इस देश के अंदर वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन होते रहे हैं। ऐसा नहीं है कि पहली बार हो रहे हैं और स्वतंत्र देश के स्वतंत्र होने के बाद जब पहली बार इलेक्शन हुए थे तो 8 राज्यों के जो चुनाव हैं वो एक साथ बाद में कराए गए, उनको एक साथ लाया गया। 8 विधानसभाओं को भंग करने के बाद पूरे देश में एक साथ चुनाव हुए थे राज्य और लोकसभा के। तो ऐसा पहली बार नहीं होने जा रहा है, पहले भी होता रहा है और सरकार ये चाहती है कि इसके फायदे जो हैं आम जनता को मिले, क्योंकि जब तक चुनाव चलता है आचार संहिता लगी रहती है, कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट लगा रहता है। ऐसे में कोई भी सरकार जो है पॉलिसी डिसीजन नहीं ले सकती है और इस देश के अंदर जो चुनाव हैं वो लगातार होते रहते हैं। चाहे आप लोकसभा के चुनाव देखें 5 साल में होते हैं, विधानसभाओं के चुनाव आपने देखे हैं होते रहते हैं। अगर कोई दल किसी दल से समर्थन वापस ले तब होते हैं और लोकल बॉडीज और ग्राम पंचायत के चुनाव भी जो है होते रहते हैं। इसीलिए देश में अगर चुनाव एक साथ होंगे तो उसका फायदा आम जनता को मिलेगा। पॉलिसीज जो डिसीजन है वो हो सकते हैं और देश की जनता के लिए जो फैसले सरकारों को लेने होते हैं उसमें बाधा नहीं आएगी।
Okay, Himanshu getting us details really of the message from Prime Minister Modi to his ministers, and that is the message he wants the ministers also to pass on to the people of this country. And according to our sources, the Prime Minister said very clearly and reiterated that the idea is to make people more aware of the benefits of simultaneous elections. Thanks, Himanshu, for those details. Let's cut across to more breaking news coming in. Now, here's why it's going to be an uphill task really for the government to ensure the passage of one nation, one election, the bill in Parliament, because you've got opposition parties making it very, very clear that they oppose this particular move. You've got comments coming in particularly from state chief ministers M.K. Stalin, Mamta Banerjee, Arvind Kejriwal. They've all now spoken out slamming this particular proposal. M.K. Stalin, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, has said that, look, what this will do is erase regional voices, so we completely oppose one nation, one election. Mamta Banerjee has said that the centre is bulldozing an unconstitutional bill. Arvind Kejriwal has said that BJP's priorities are clearly misplaced. So the opposition isn't on board. And for the government to actually ensure this bill is passed, they're going to need the backing of these opposition parties because they are right now in power in the states. And this is something that needs the states nod as well. Rahul Gautam is joining us with more details on this. Rahul, is the entire India bloc taking a stand against one nation, one election? Is it something that's been discussed by the alliance, or these are just individual parties expressing their view?
Well, it seems that this is becoming a sort of a rallying point as far as India bloc is concerned, because more and more voices are coming in and they're speaking in one tone that they are rejecting this very idea of one nation, one poll. Arvind Kejriwal, Mamata Banerjee, Mr. Stalin, Congress party has tweeted a letter of Mallikarjun Kharge wherein he had earlier objected to this idea, saying that this is actually going to be against the very ethos of our democracy. So clearly, it seems that the opposition is united on this issue, and obviously it will be in a very difficult task, for government to convince these political parties. We have to really understand that, at least the Congress party is convinced that this very idea or the very move to implement one nation, one election is actually going to be detrimental to the entire election process, and that's why they are not in favor of it. But it seems that they are also getting support from many political outfits like TMC, DMK. All these parties are coming out in their support, or they are speaking in one voice. So clearly, it's in at least for opposition bloc, it seems that they've come on board on this issue, and government would have to really make some real hard efforts to bring these political parties on consensus. But as we speak, if you remember earlier also when this committee was
it's going to be a challenge for the government to actually get the opposition on board. So we'll have to see how really they do it. Thanks, Rahul, for the moment, for joining us with those details. The cabinet has given the go-ahead, perhaps also knowing that, look, this is going to be a long-drawn process for the government. Sources are telling us there's a possibility of this bill actually being brought in this very session, in the winter session. But the government knows it's going to take a few months for it to become a reality, at least with regards to getting the nod from Parliament, because this, in all likelihood, will go to a joint parliamentary committee, much like the Waqf Amendment Bill, which means there will be a long discourse, long discussion, debate on this, with all other parties also brought on board. Now, the government has made it very clear they will reach out to opposition parties, to all stakeholders, and ensure everyone is convinced with the idea of simultaneous elections. Let's get you some of the reactions that have been coming in.
ये तो आज देश के लिए जरूरी है। तमाम विपक्ष की भी राय है कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन होना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं कि ये कोई सत्तारूढ़ दल का, ये देश के हित का सवाल है और इसमें दूसरी पार्टियों ने भी सहमति जताई थी। अब किस तरीके से चीजें आएंगी सदन में, सभी दलों के साथ परस्पर एक सहमति भी बनेगी और विश्वास भी बनेगा, और निश्चित तौर से हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि ये पास भी होगा वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन, और ये देश के हित में होगा।
वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन एक उत्साह की एक लहर लेके आया है। सबसे बड़ा चैलेंजिंग तो इतना खर्चा होता है, 3-4 महीने में सारे अधिकारी जो है वो ड्यूटीज पे लग जाते हैं, सारे संस्थान रुक जाते हैं, और सबसे बड़ी बात जो है हमारे देशवासियों के लिए उनको बार बार जो है वो प्रमोट करना, बार बार उनको भेजना वोट देने के लिए। हर साल जो है वोट देने वालों की जो है परसेंटेज कभी कभी किसी राज्यों में आपने देखा कितना डिप कर रही है। तो ये एक दिस इज द नीड ऑफ द आवर, और आई थिंक सारे ही इसके पक्ष में है, पक्ष विपक्ष सब ये चाहते हैं कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन होना चाहिए। लेकिन ये बहुत पहले होना चाहिए था, लेकिन ये सारे जो काम है वो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के ही कार्यकाल में हो रहे हैं।
मोदी जी ने कभी खुद दिखाया नहीं कि उनको वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन में विश्वास है। महाराष्ट्र में 5 फेज में इलेक्शन करते हैं, कभी गुजरात और हिमाचल में इलेक्शन 2 अलग तारीखों पे करते हैं। तो जब इनको मुनासिब होता है एक ही समय पे 2 राज्यों के निर्वाचन कराते हैं, और जब मुनासिब नहीं होता तो अलग अलग समय पे कराते हैं। तो बिना कोई तर्क लिए ये वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन ये लाने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
देश में विभिन्नता ही हमारी एकता का एक बहुत बड़ा अंग है, उसको खत्म करने का जो काम हो रहा है ये दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। अब तक किसी ने हमें कॉस्ट बेनिफिट एनालिसिस नहीं बताया है, क्योंकि प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कह दिया है कि देश के पे बहुत सारा पैसा बचेगा, तो वो पैसा बचेगा भाई साहब। कोई ये नहीं पूछा है कितना पैसा बचेगा। कि बिगर ऑपोजिशन जो है कि आप फेडरल डेमोक्रेसी पे फिर से एक चोट पहुंचा रहे हैं, और आपका ऑब्सेशन के आप यूनिफॉर्मिटी लाएं गिव्स अनड्यू सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पावर्स, क्योंकि आप अगर कोई सरकार गिरती भी है तो वो गवर्नर के हाथ में सारा चला जाएगा एज एन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर। जो
by making such statements, it's easy to say that one nation, one election. It's very good, feel good, it's a good thing. But you write from Gram Panchayat to Lok Sabha. Think of it, so many elections are there. So how to do that? It needs a JPC. I think we should call for a JPC and listen to the stakeholders of the country.
So the BJP has spoken about one nation, one election several times, but they've aggressively moved forward with also the high-level committee chaired by former President Gautam being formed, and that recommendations then moving forward. But what are the arguments for and against simultaneous polls? How really will that work in such a massive, large country? I break down all those details for you. Parliamentary corridors are abuzz with the term one nation, one election. Now, the BJP is firmly back to the concept of one nation, one election, reiterating that they will ensure it becomes a reality. The ruling party says it saves time and money. Nearly 24 parties led by the Congress have called it impractical and unnecessary. Let's explain to you exactly what one nation, one election is all about. What exactly is one nation, one election? In essence, it envisions conducting simultaneous elections for both Lok Sabha and state assemblies throughout the country in one go. The proposal suggests a two-phase approach. First, elections for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies, followed by local body polls. But the second phase should happen within 100 days. Currently, elections for state assemblies and the Lok Sabha take place independently, as I'm sure you all know, either upon the completion of a 5-year term for the existing government or in the case of dissolution due to various reasons. Let's take you through the history of simultaneous elections. This concept actually is not new to India. Now, the concept of simultaneous elections dates back to the first general elections in 1951-52, which coincided with all Vidhan Sabha polls, with all state polls. This practice continued right up until 1967, when hung assemblies disrupted the trend and the timing. In 1983, the Election Commission then suggested that maybe we should go back to simultaneous elections. And then in 2003, the idea came up again. Then Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee took up the matter with the then Congress President Sonia Gandhi. But there wasn't much headway made then. Again in 2010, again it was the BJP that put forward the initiative or took the step forward with LK Adani saying that he had discussed the matter with the then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh over the 2nd, 2023. So according to the roadmap presented by this committee that's headed by Ramnath Kovind, simultaneous elections will require 18 amendments to existing laws, including 15 amendments to the Constitution, which fundamentally doesn't allow simultaneous polls. 5 articles in the Constitution and the Representation of People Act of 1951 would have to be amended. And for this, every recognized state and national party would have to agree to the change. So it is a tough ask for the BJP to get this, to get a go-ahead. Now, for a constitutional amendment, 2/3 of the House must be present for the vote. A consensus of all political parties, of state governments, importantly, is also needed. After the constitutional amendment bill is passed in Parliament, it needs to be ratified by half the states in India through resolutions in their assembly. So not just Parliament, assemblies also need to give the go-ahead. As per the Kovind panel, out of 62 parties that they approached, 47 responded with their views. 32 backed simultaneous polls, 15 opposed it. Besides the BJP, Shiv Sena, JDU, the AIADMK, the BJD, the Akali Dal, among others, have backed one nation, one election in their communication to the panel. The Congress, Aam Aadmi Party, Trinamool Congress, Dravida Munnetra Kazhagam, Samajwadi Party, among other parties, have opposed the same. Many parties didn't respond then to the committee's query and have now spoken out either for or against the move. And even the ones I've listed here have been known to change their stance based on really how their alliance or allegiance has shifted. So apart from the legal and the constitutional challenges, including ensuring necessary support from political parties, another monumental task would be actually syncing the terms of various state legislative assemblies with those of the Lok Sabha with minimum disruption to governance. Obviously, state terms end at very different times, which is why literally all year round you have elections happening. There's still no real clarity on how to deal with breaks due to dissolution of houses, President's rule, or even a hung assembly or parliament, in which case then a state will have to go into elections earlier and thereby the entire sync again goes out. Additionally, there is a worry that regional issues might get overshadowed by the national issues, affecting the electoral outcome at the state level. Also, regional political parties would not be able to compete with national parties when it comes to election expenditure and strategy. And these are some issues that regional parties have voiced. Another area of concern that they've put up is the recurring cost of procuring EVMs, electronic voting machines. This, the poll panel has said, will be nearly 10,000 crore rupees every 15 years. So then the question that comes up is, why is BJP pushing for one nation, one election if there are so many challenges? Well, those who back this particular reform often underline that once implemented, it would bring down the overall expense, the overall expenditure on the electoral process. As per reports, a staggering 1.35 lakh crore rupees was actually spent to conduct the 2024 Lok Sabha election. The government hopes a one-shot election will also likely boost voter turnout, making it convenient for the electorate to cast their ballot in one go, one shot, and it's done for. Another argument favouring simultaneous polls is that it will lead to a more efficient administration. During elections, the entire state machinery focuses on conducting a free and fair electoral process. And obviously that means everyday administration takes a back seat because officials are engaged in polling duties. The frequent imposition of the Model Code of Conduct leads to policy paralysis, delaying developmental programs because nothing can move when the Code of Conduct is in place. Now, you've heard the arguments for and against one nation, one election. Let's see how, in fact, this issue progresses and how the BJP, if they push forward with this, actually ensures to get all parties on board. And get set for a mega showdown in Parliament over the next 2 days. In the Lok Sabha, you're going to be seeing the debate on Constitution Day that the opposition was pushing for. And we're getting details really of the speaker list for both the BJP and the Congress. A whip has been issued to all MPs by the BJP and the Congress for ensuring maximum attendance in the Lok Sabha. Now, what we're hearing is that Rajnath Singh will speak tomorrow in the Lok Sabha. He'll be opening up the debate for the BJP. Home Minister Amit Shah will be opening it up for the BJP in the Rajya Sabha. But remember that in the Rajya Sabha, the Constitution Day debate is actually on Monday and Tuesday. Now, tomorrow, while Rajnath Singh is expected to speak and kick off things for the BJP, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will be making her debut speech in Parliament after having taken oath in this session as a Member of Parliament. Priyanka Gandhi's debut speech is likely to be tomorrow in the Lok Sabha. Now, there is, in fact, talk that she could be starting things off, kicking things off for the Congress. 12 hours in all have been allotted for this discussion. The debate kicks off at 12 p.m. tomorrow. So at 12 noon, what we're hearing is that BJP will have 15 speakers who will speak on the Constitution. Remember, all other parties will also have a chance. For example, for the Trinamool Congress, it's Kalyan Banerjee and Mahua Moitra. Shambhavi Chaudhary for the LJP. For the DMK, it's T.R. Balu and A. Raja. But let's bring in our reporters on this as well. We've got Himanshu Mishra and Rahul Gautam with us. Rahul, to you first. There's a lot of talk that Priyanka Gandhi will be making her debut speech tomorrow. Is she going to be essentially opening the debate for the Congress?
Well, it is in all likelihood that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra will be opening the very debate on behalf of opposition. However, we are told that still the list is being finalized, and once finalized, the chair will be informed about the sequence of speakers as far as Congress Party is concerned. Rahul Gandhi is also going to speak on this important discussion on Constitution. Remember, Rahul Gandhi had earlier written also a letter to Speaker demanding that some time should be devoted for this. And in fact, later on, the deputy leader in Lok Sabha, Mr. Gaurav Gogoi, Manikam Tagore, all these Congress MPs had met later and urged Lok Sabha Speaker to devote some time. So it seems that, and remember, Constitution has been one of the most important planks, of Congress Party in the recent Lok Sabha polls. They have literally contested the election on Constitution. So therefore, they wanted this to happen, and you can expect that. Right from Priyanka Gandhi Vadra to Rahul Gandhi to Gaurav Gogoi, all these people are going to speak as to how government has been allegedly trampling upon the Constitution, how they've been going against the very ethos, against the very the structure of Constitution. So obviously, you can expect that they're going to be fireworks. Priyanka Gandhi, in all likelihood,
Gandhi
is
also
going to make
expected to speak tomorrow, Rahul?
speech. Well, the sequence is yet to be finalized, but we can tell our viewers that Rahul Gandhi will be speaking on this issue inside Lok Sabha. Similarly, there's going to be debate in Rajya Sabha as well. Mallikarjun Kharge is also going to speak on this issue. So clearly, it seems that Congress party is going to deploy this battery of the senior leaders to take on government, and obviously they would try to corner the government on this very issue because they believe that the constitution has been one issue on which they've been hitting and denting.
They wanted this debate, and they've gotten it now. So Rahul Gandhi, as Rahul Gautam tells us, will be speaking. The question is whether it's going to happen tomorrow or day after. Remember, Prime Minister Modi for the BJP will be speaking day after tomorrow on Saturday. Himanshu is getting us more details on really what the BJP strategy is to counter the opposition. Himanshu, speaker list BJP की तैयार है. कल हमको ये जानकारी मिल रहा है कि राजनाथ सिंह शुरू करेंगे.
देखिए, बिल्कुल रक्षा मंत्री राजनाथ सिंह जो है वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से जो है अपना व्यू रखेंगे संविधान दिवस के 75 वर्ष पूरे होने पे, और तमाम भारतीय जनता पार्टी के जो लोकसभा के अंदर स्पीकर्स हैं वो उसमें पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे. अनुराग ठाकुर, निशिकांत दुबे समेत कई लोग जो हैं इस डिबेट के अंदर जो है पार्टिसिपेशन करेंगे. लेकिन सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि भारतीय जनता पार्टी की तरफ से अंत में प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जो हैं वो बोलेंगे, यानी कि शनिवार देर शाम जो है प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी इस पूरी चर्चा का समापन करेंगे और जवाब देंगे. तो उसमें कहीं ना कहीं एक चीज का एज भारतीय जनता पार्टी के पास रहेगा कि जो चीजें कांग्रेस अभी तक 2024 के लोकसभा चुनाव में कहती रही संविधान खतरे में है, और उसके बाद प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी पहली बार बोलते नजर आएंगे कि संविधान दिवस पर किस तरीके से जो है कांग्रेस और अन्य दलों ने इसको एक बड़ा चुनावी मुद्दा बना लिया. अब देखना यह है कि चाहे जैसा राहुल गौतम भी बता रहे थे, राहुल गांधी, प्रियंका गांधी, मणिकम टैगोर समेत तमाम लोग जो हैं कांग्रेस की फहरिस्त में भी हैं, और ये जो 2 दिन हैं बड़े इंटरेस्टिंग रहने वाले हैं संविधान दिवस के 75 वर्ष पूरे होने पे.
It's going to be very, very interesting to see what each side has to say and what will play out. Himanshu and Rahul Gautam, thanks very much for joining us with those details. So tomorrow onwards, you will see that very interesting debate on Constitution Day, and you will see the big guns of both parties, of all parties essentially, speaking out, putting their party stand forth in Parliament. Let's talk about what really played out today in the winter session. Again, it was the same chorus of Adani by the opposition, Soros by the BJP. And what that also meant is a lot of disruptions, a lot of protests. The lack of house business is resulting obviously in a waste of taxpayer money and ignoring of issues of public interest.
Chairman sir, Congress se Rahul Gandhi se mere 10 sawal hai.
A battle over 2 billionaires, Gautam Adani and George Soros, has derailed the winter session of Parliament.
Sonia Gandhi ke saath kya sambandh hai jisko Soros fund karta hai?
The BJP once again accused the Congress of links with the American billionaire and demanded the Grand Old Party come clean on the issue.
ये कहती FDL AP जो कश्मीर को अलग देश मानता है, उसके साथ राजीव गांधी फाउंडेशन पे सोनिया गांधी के साथ क्या संबंध है जिसको सोरोस फंड करता है? सोनिया और सोरोस का रिश्ता क्या है? और राहुल गांधी के अमेरिका दौरे का सारा खर्चा ग्लोबल नॉलेज इनिशिएटिव स्वयं पित्रोदा देता है, जिसको सोरोस पैसा देता है.
Your conduct, no, take your seat. Take your seat.
In the Rajya Sabha, the government attacked the opposition over its no trust motion campaign against chairperson Jagdeep Dhankar.
इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस के ऑफिशियल हैंडल से चेयरमैन को चेयर लीडर कहा गया है. इसकी जितनी भर्त्सना की जाए एंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट को इस तरीके से डेरोगेट करने का, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोजीशन को इस तरीके से डिमीन करने का जो आपने कुत्सित प्रयास किया है, जो गलत प्रयास किया है, भारत की जनता कभी माफ नहीं करेगी इंडियन नेशनल कांग्रेस को.
उनके जो निर्णय रहते हैं,
The Congress, on the other hand, claimed the government was running away from real issues.
ये लोग अपने विषय को भटकाना चाहते हैं. अपने विषय को भटकाना चाहते हैं.
Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were adjourned till Friday. The opposition staged protest outside Parliament building demanding probe against industrialist Gautam Adani, who is indicted by an American court for alleged securities fraud. Protests inside and outside Parliament are draining taxpayers' money. It's important to note that every minute Parliament runs, taxpayers pay 2.5 lakh rupees. In an hour, this amounts to 1.5 crore rupees. For 6 hours of daily proceedings, the cost is around 9 crore rupees. Over 13 days, 117 crore rupees has been spent on running the Parliament. The government had agreed to a discussion on Friday to mark the 75th anniversary of the Constitution. The face-off between government and opposition has now cast a cloud on the special occasion. Bureau Report, India Today.
And let's get to other big highlights that emerged from Parliament today. Leader of opposition Rahul Gandhi was missing from Parliament on the 14th day of the session. Rahul headed to Hathras in Uttar Pradesh a day after he, along with Priyanka Gandhi, met the families of 5 people who died in the Sambal violence on November 24th. Rahul Gandhi met with the Hathras victim of the 2020 case. After no confidence motion against the chairman of Rajya Sabha, now opposition MPs are readying to get an impeachment motion against an Allahabad High Court judge, Justice Shekhar Yadav, for, according to them, endorsing extremist Hindutva views. And with that, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you details of the big order that came in from the Supreme Court over the Places of Worship Act. We'll get you some of the highlights of what the Supreme Court said.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
ज़माने से हटकर है, बेबाक है मेरा सिग्नेचर. Signature finest cardamom seeds, a premium product from Dilbar Group.
Rangila Re, with Motorola's incredible range of smartphones.
Hello, Moto. Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google Gemini.
Hi, I am AI anchor Sana, bringing the top headlines for you, presented by Motorola. Union Cabinet approves One Nation One Election Bill, likely to be tabled in Parliament. NIA raids Madrasa in Jhansi, operator detained and interrogated in alleged foreign funding case. Joy Bangla no longer national slogan of Bangladesh as Supreme Court stays HC's verdict.
News coming in this evening of a top-level meeting that's underway at Prime Minister Modi's residence. Home Minister Amit Shah is present in the meeting, as is Defence Minister Rajnath Singh. Now, there will be a lot of focus on this particular huddle that's happening at the Prime Minister's residence just a day before the Constitution Day debate will kick off in the Lok Sabha. And remember, the Prime Minister Modi is going to be speaking on Saturday. Tomorrow, Rajnath Singh is going to be, in fact, kicking off the debate for the BJP. Amit Shah is expected to speak in the Rajya Sabha as the lead, as the opening speaker. So amid that, you've got both the Home Minister, the Defence Minister meeting with Prime Minister Modi at his residence. We are, of course, going to get you more details of what's really transpiring in that meet. But in all, we do know that the BJP is readying its strategy to counter the opposition's narrative on Constitution. The opposition, of course, has been focusing, the Congress in particular, on Constitution. It's something Rahul Gandhi has repeatedly spoken on in every rally, every political event. He, of course, pulls out the Constitution booklet to target the Prime Minister, to target the BJP. And so now the Bharatiya Janata Party will want to ensure that they have their strategy in place to counter the Congress, to counter the India bloc and the opposition on the issue of Constitution. Prime Minister Modi is expected to speak on Saturday evening. 15 speakers in all for the BJP in the Lok Sabha alone. So these will be your top leaders of the party, the best speakers who will be coming forth to put forth the party's case on the issue of Constitution at a time that the opposition has accused the BJP of ignoring, sidelining and disrespecting the Samvidhan repeatedly. Now, this meeting is happening at the Prime Minister's residence. Prime Minister Modi, Home Minister Amit Shah, as well as Defence Minister Rajnath Singh are there. Rahul Gautam is joining us with more details on this. Rahul, what are you picking up from your sources? What's on the agenda of this meet? Is it to discuss really what's the strategy going into the session tomorrow?
Absolutely. This is what we're learning from our sources, that this is essentially and primarily to chalk out a strategy as to how the debate would be conducted, and you can expect that from government side they're going to raise issues like emergency, the other issues. From Congress party, what we are learning from our sources, they're going to raise the recent the alleged toppling of state governments, and they would obviously try to create this narrative that how government has been going against the very ethos and the very basic structure of Constitution. As I was telling you earlier also, they're going to deploy there is the finest orators and their top leaders, including in all likelihood Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Gaurav Gogoi, who's the deputy leader, Shashi Tharoor, Manish Tiwari. All these leaders are going to speak on behalf of Congress party, and obviously they would try to push a government towards the wall on the issue of Constitution. Remember, they had recently contested the entire Lok Sabha poll on the very plank of Constitution, and they've been sending this message that how the government has been trying to alter the very Constitution. So clearly it seems that as far as opposition and particularly Congress party is concerned, they're going to come up with these issues to corner the government. From government point of view,
Rahul, just stay with me. Let's talk about really what and Aishwarya Paliwal is joining us with more really on what the BJP is going to do in the Constitution Day debate. What's their strategy? Aishwarya, we're hearing that there's a high-level meeting that's underway at Prime Minister Modi's residence where Home Minister Amit Shah, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh are present. Take us through really what's on the agenda.
Well, let me tell you, Akshita, from what we understand, Rajnath Singh and Home Minister Amit Shah, they are meeting the Prime Minister, and what exactly will unfold in the next 4 days, not just in the next 2 days, that strategy now is being looked at. What will be the major points that the BJP will be speaking about? All those things are now being looked at, because from what we understand, the Congress also and the opposition also has now made sure that all its MPs, a whip has been issued by the Congress party. They are making sure that all the MPs are present when this very important debate takes place, because it was the opposition, Akshita, that actually wanted a debate to take place on the Constitution. And now we are seeing the BJP also making sure that they are ready with everything possible, and they will also make sure that they put forth all the points that they want to speak about. A very crucial meeting. What will happen over the course of the next 4 days is being discussed at the Prime Minister's house.
All right. Thanks very much, Aishwarya, for joining us with all of those details. And it shows you really how much importance the government, the BJP, is giving to this entire debate, knowing full well that now all eyes, the country will be watching this particular debate to see who wins really this showdown, this massive war of words that's expected to play out from tomorrow starting 12 noon in the Lok Sabha. All right, let's move on to some other stories and talk about the Supreme Court's important observations and crucial directives on the Places of Worship Act. It has become a big bone of contention for the last many months. While hearing a batch of petitions that challenge the constitutionality of the act, the court ruled that no further suits on Mandir Masjids disputes can be registered until the matter is heard or disposed of by the apex court. So no fresh cases can be brought up, no PILs, no pleas will be admitted. CJI Sanjeev Khanna said that this matter requires detailed consideration, and the CJI made it clear that the courts are examining all contours and ambit of the act. It's only appropriate, therefore, according to the CJI, for lower courts to stay their hands while the issue is sub judice at the highest level. What that means is that all the cases right now, the pending cases over these disputes, the pause button has been hit. Nothing can move forward, will not progress till the Supreme Court decides on the Places of Worship Act. The CJI also said the court is aware of the ongoing cases concerning the Mathura and Kashi disputes and stressed that the court would address these alongside the broader constitutional issues raised.
देखिए, हमारा ये कहना है कि ये प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट में बहुत साफ साफ लिखा हुआ है कि रिलीजियस कैरेक्टर चेंज नहीं होगा और रिलीजियस कैरेक्टर बिना जांच किए पता नहीं चल सकता। इसमें कहीं पे रिलीजियस आइडेंटिटी की बात नहीं हुई है, यहाँ ढांचे की बात ही नहीं हो रही, कैरेक्टर की बात हो रही है और कैरेक्टर बिना सर्वे किए पता ही नहीं चल सकता। ये तो जबरदस्ती बात हो रही है कि खुदाई होगी। कहाँ से खुदाई होगी? आज खुदाई की कोई जरूरत नहीं है, बिल्डिंग को टच भी करने की जरूरत नहीं है। राडार टेक्नोलॉजी है, जीपीएस टेक्नोलॉजी है, कार्बन डेटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी है। आप बैठे बैठे पता चल सकते हैं कि इस स्ट्रक्चर की फाउंडेशन कब बनी, दीवार कब बनी, गुंबद कब बना। इसकी जांच करना बहुत जरूरी है।
Okay, let's bring in Anisha Mathur on this broadcast for more details. Anisha, run us through really what the Supreme Court directive means. Now, with all of the existing cases, and there are about 10 of them, what happens to them? You essentially hit the pause button. Can nothing move on any of them, even those where, the court has said you can go ahead with the survey?
Well, Akshita, clearly what the Supreme Court has said today is that when the highest court of the land is hearing an issue and it is looking at the entire contour, the virus, at the applicability of the 1991 Places of Worship Act, then it is not appropriate for the lower courts to continue hearing any matter. So what the court has said specifically is that no orders, whether it is interim orders, whether it is any orders on applications or any orders of survey, can be passed by any court regarding any such dispute over a religious structure. Secondly, and more importantly, no fresh suits will be entertained, will be registered or heard by any court. What this means is that for the last several months, we've been looking at various issues coming up across the country with regards to claims regarding mandir, temples and masjids. All of those now effectively cannot be heard till the court takes its decision on the Places of Worship Act validity. The hearing that happened today, it was quite a short hearing, especially since these matters have been pending since 2020. The challenge to the validity of the Places of Worship Act has been pending since 2020. The centre was once again asked that notice was issued to you in 2022. Why have you not filed any response? Why have you not taken any stance yet? The centre has now been given 4 weeks of time to respond. But at the moment, all the cases, including Kashi, including Mathura, including the other matters, whether it is Ajmer, whether it is Sambhal, all of those questions that have been asked regarding surveys, all of those now, no orders can be passed by the civil court and no fresh cases can be registered or heard by the civil courts till the Supreme Court passes its decision. So this is effectively putting a pause on all the Mandir Masjid disputes across the country because we've been seeing these coming up in various areas. Back to you.
Very true. Anisha, thanks for those details. Anisha also highlighting that the centre has 4 weeks now to respond. Remember, since 2022, they've not filed their response despite being asked to do so by the court. But let's tell you about all of the cases right now pending in court. Mosque, masjids, fights that are playing out. You've got the Jama Masjid in Sambhal, which according to the Hindu side, the petition that was filed in court has been built over the Sri Harihar temple by Babur. Now, the survey order, remember, which was first issued by a lower court, was then halted by the Supreme Court. And that's the current status, over which there will now be a hold. There'll be no further hearings because of the Supreme Court's directive today. Similarly, the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi, the claim is it's been built over the Lord Vishweshwar temple by Aurangzeb. Survey was allowed. The document of what the survey has revealed is with the court. Again now, it will be stalled at that particular stage. The Shahi Eidgah Mosque in Mathura, one of the biggest contentious issues. The allegation, the petition, multiple of those, is that it's been built over the Krishna Janmabhoomi site. The hearing on this is underway. It could take time now because the Supreme Court has said nothing will move on any of these cases. The Ajmer Sharif Dargah of Ajmer. Now, this site is originally a Shiva temple, is what the petition claims. Notices have been issued on the place, so the hearing really hasn't begun just yet, and it's going to take some time, obviously, for the hearing to kick off with these directives today. The Qutub Minar Mosque in Delhi, iconic location, a heritage site of the national capital. The allegation is that it's been built with the ruins of 27 Hindu and Jain temples. The hearing is underway in this matter in the courts. Now, the hearing will be paused till the Supreme Court decides on the Places of Worship Act. Now, let's talk about more cases. Bhojshala in Madhya Pradesh, there's a showdown over the Kamal Molla Mosque. Now, the claim is it's been built over a Saraswati temple. The survey was actually allowed in this particular case. The documents of what that survey is revealed is with the court. Again, over there now, you can't see any development for the time being. Now, let's talk about also in Uttar Pradesh, Badaयूं, the Shamshi Shahi Masjid. Now, the allegation has been built over a Neelkant Mahadev temple. That's what the petition says. It's in court. The hearing is underway. These are all in lower courts. Then in fact, Lucknow, you have the Telewali Masjid, which, according to the petition, has been built over a demolished Hindu structure. The hearing again is underway in a Lucknow court. For now, there will be a pause on this. The Atala Masjid in Jaunpur of Uttar Pradesh. The case actually came up now, where you had a hearing happening today. Now, the claim is that the temple was actually repurposed into a mosque by the Tughlaq dynasty. The hearing is underway in this matter. The hearing took place today as well. But after this, it will have to wait for at least 4 weeks before there will be any progress or any hearing. Now, the Sheikh Chishti Dargah in Fatehpur Sikri of Uttar Pradesh. The claim is, the petition claims this was originally a Kamakya Devi temple. Notices have been issued on the place. It hasn't really moved forward hearing-wise. We'll see what really happens. These are 10 cases that are right now in court, over which there will be no development, no progress, because the Supreme Court has said, wait till we hear the issues on Places of Worship Act. Now, there's one more issue, which is Taj Mahal of Agra. Now, over this too, there was a petition filed in multiple courts, and the allegation is that Taj Mahal originally was a temple called Tejo Mahalay. This plea was dismissed, and the plea was dismissed multiple times. Nothing changes on this front, considering that it's now out of court. But why is it that you're seeing this massive discourse and questions over the Places of Worship Act? What is it that the Supreme Court will now look into based on the petitions that have been filed? I explained to you everything you need to know about this Places of Worship Act. That's the talk of the town right now. With Hindu-Muslim tensions and mosque-temple spats ruling the news cycle, there's a heated debate on judicial rulings on these issues. And at the heart of it is the Places of Worship Act. The Places of Worship Special Provisions Act 1991 was enacted, yes, in 1991, at the peak of the Ram Mandir agitation, and essentially states that the religious character of any place of worship as it existed on August 15, 1947 must be maintained. Here's the most important part of the Act. Section 3 of the Act bars the conversion in full or part of a place of worship of any religious denomination into a place of worship of a different religious denomination, or even a different segment of the same religious denomination. To dump it down for you, essentially, if it's a Muslim place of worship, it can't be converted into a Hindu place of worship. The law, which has been a part of the Congress's 1991 election manifesto, was meant to put to bed all controversies arising out of the alleged historical conversion of a place of worship. Now, while introducing it in Parliament, the then Home Minister S.B. Chavan had said, and I'm quoting what he said, the enactment of this bill will go a long way in helping restore communal amity and goodwill. But it's important to also note here that the Babri Masjid Ram Janmabhoomi dispute was specifically kept outside its purview, outside this Act's purview, as the dispute was already sub judice when this law was passed. The Supreme Court itself had, in its 2019 verdict in the Ayodhya title suit, read the guarantee offered by the Places of Worship Act as part of the basic structure of the Constitution. I'll just read out for you the Supreme Court ruling, an important line here. The state has, by enacting the law, enforced a constitutional commitment and operationalized its constitutional obligations to uphold the equality of all religions and secularism, which is a part of the basic structure of the Constitution. So why then are there even petitions being filed seeking conversions of places of worship and surveys and whatnot? That's because of what happened in the Supreme Court in August 2023. The then Chief Justice D.Y. Chandrachud led a bench which permitted a survey to be carried out at the Gyanvapi Mosque in Varanasi to examine whether the mosque has been built on a temple. So does that essentially go completely against the Places of Worship Act? Not really, because here's what the ex-CGI said. While noting that there could be no conversion of the place, Chandrachud said the structure's original character, as he put it, could always be determined. This essentially means that an inquiry into what the nature of the place of worship was on August 15, 1947 can be allowed, even if that nature can't be subsequently changed because of the act. But then, it wasn't just Gyanvapi. Later that year, a local court in Mathura admitted a plea seeking the transfer of the land of the Shahi Idgah Mosque in the city to a Hindu trust for the construction of a temple at the Krishna Janmabhoomi, leading to a heightened chorus of Ayodhya Jhaki Hai, Kashi Mathura Baki Hai, which essentially translates to Ayodhya is done, Kashi and Mathura are pending, are next. So while the title suits essentially claiming access or the right to worship in Varanasi and Mathura continue, there's also, interestingly, a constitutional challenge to the Places of Worship Act 1991 that's pending before the Supreme Court. The Apex Court currently has before it 4 separate petitions that challenge the Act itself, that challenge the Places of Worship Act. In September 2022, a bench that was headed by then CJI UU Lalit had directed the government to file a response on its stand within 2 weeks on this issue on the Places of Worship Act. 2 years on, however, the centre is yet to actually file its affidavit. So even as the Union Government and Apex Court are taking their time on this issue, several pleas have been filed before high courts, before local courts, seeking surveys of mosques, not to change the place of worship, but to determine what exactly stood there before. In Agra, there's a plea seeking an ASI survey of the Jama Masjid. In Karnataka, a plea seeks a survey of the Jamia Masjid in Srirangapatna. In Rajasthan, a plea claims that a Shiva temple lies below the Ajmer Dargah. Surveys have been conducted of the Jama Masjid in Sambal and of the Bhojshala in Dhar, Madhya Pradesh, and that list goes on. That's all we have time for in this edition of 6 p.m. Prime. Thanks very much for tuning in. I'm leaving you with this video on the occasion of superstar Rajinikanth's 74th birthday from his next film, Coolie. A song sequence has been released. Enjoy this.